Precinct 4. This forum is produced by the League of Women Voters of Montgomery County and co-sponsored by the Community Chamber of Commerce of East Montgomery County. My name is Julie Martineau. I'm a past president of the League of Women Voters and a member of this chamber out here. The League is a nonpartisan citizens education organization. In addition to forums like this one, we produce a voter's guide, and we have a statewide voter guide that is in the libraries. And you can download it off the website, the State League's website as well, if you want information about statewide candidates. We also publish a voter's key that lists all the elected officials that represent you here in Montgomery County. Tonight's forum will adhere to the following format. Candidates have drawn for the order in which they will make their opening statements. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for his or her opening remarks. Actually, there's no her, so I guess it's only his tonight. After opening remarks, candidates will be asked questions that are submitted by you from the audience and screened for relevancy to both candidates. So what that means is when you're writing a question, your question has to be answerable by both candidates. You can't write a question that is directed to only one candidate. If you do, we will rewrite that question to have both candidates answer it so that we get the information, hopefully, that you're looking for. But it helps us out if you write it for both candidates, okay? Candidates' response to questions will begin in the reverse order of the opening statements. So the candidate giving the last opening statement, they've got me confused over here, will be the first one to answer. Panelists and candidates will rotate in asking and responding to questions. Each candidate will have 1 minute for his response. A league member will be keeping time, and that's Anita Shaw, and she has a bell, which you've already heard. And should we have a candidate, imagine that, who might exceed their 1 minute time allotment. We also have signs that they hold up, and that will tell them how much time they have left before they are going to get dinged out of existence on that question. If you have a question you want to ask, please raise your hand. Laura has cards that she's passing around, and she has pencils. Once you have written the question down, raise the card up. Laura will pick it up and bring it up here to us, okay? And we will take questions all through tonight, so don't be shy. After we have the final questions, we will have closing remarks. Those will be in the same order as the opening remarks. And again, the candidates will have 2 minutes for their closing remarks. Now I'd like to introduce the guest panelist we have for tonight. Sitting next to me is Sandy Ashby, and she is a past president, like myself, of the Montgomery County League of Women Voters. As I said, this candidate forum is for County Commissioner Precinct 4. The length of term of office is 4 years. The salary for this position is just over $95,000. There's an annual car allowance of over $22,000, and there is health care and retirement benefits that comes with this position as well. There are only 2 candidates for this position, and let me introduce them to you now in the order in which they have drawn for their opening remarks. To my far right and your left is Commissioner Ed Reinhardt, who's the incumbent, and next to him is Roland Red McCleskey. Commissioner Reinhardt has drawn first, and we will begin with his opening remarks. You have 2 minutes, Commissioner.
Thank you. I appreciate each and every one of you coming out tonight. I think a lot of the issues is that we're talking about drainage. And I see where they say, clean out the outfall ditches. Ladies and gentlemen, we only own 2 outfall ditches in East Montgomery County. Those ditches are Upper Taylor Gully and what they call the Reinhardt Ditch from Fatherly Drive that empties into Oakhurst Ditch. We talk about getting in on private property. You got landowners that don't want you on their property to clean out ditches to drain somebody else's property. Let me assure you that I've got employees in the audience right now would more than welcome to get all this flooding problem solved. That we wouldn't have to be out at 10 o'clock to midnight putting up high water signs. And we work hard on doing drainage, and we're going to continue to work hard on doing drainage. Another issue we talked about is the landfill. I have supported this landfill. It's been put on the agenda twice. Guess who got it taken off? Ed Reinhardt. If you don't believe that, you can go ask some of the commissioners, and they'll tell you who I fought. You can ask some of the people in the audience from the landfill here tonight. Another issue they talk about is law enforcement. I see two people here tonight that's in law enforcement. Ask those two people who is the strongest commissioner on Commissioner's Court for law enforcement. I think either one of them will tell you who is the strongest on the court for law enforcement. We talk about our children. I have done everything in my power to put our kids new baseball fields, new show barns, and we have accomplished a lot. And we're going to accomplish a lot more. I don't think anybody can argue of what we've done with the money that we've got in our budget. I've never had to borrow money from nobody else. I started out with owing over $200,000 that money had been borrowed from other commissioners. I repaid that. We started out with $275,000 we had to spend on equipment to get it back where it's at. If you'll come to my shop, I'll assure you, very seldom will you catch a piece of equipment down in our shop. It's because we know how to do preventive maintenance, and we work hard to save our taxpayers' dollars. And we're going to continue to do that. As long as I'm commissioner, I'll assure you I will not waste your money. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McCluskey.
Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate all of y'all being here tonight between me and Mr. Reinhardt. This is an open discussion that the community needs to get involved in, and I appreciate that 100%. What I look at when I look around this community, I've lived in this community my entire life. I'm 46 years old. I have deep roots that run in this community. I look at the law enforcement. I want to take the law enforcement, I want to enhance that. I want to give them everything they need to do their job the safe way and the easiest and the fastest way they can. When we look at the schools and the kids and we look at drugs, you know, if we got just 20% of our kids on drugs, the other 80% are affected by it. We need to get our DARE program started back up in full swing. We need to make routine checks at them schools. We need to let everybody know that we're there and we're going to take care of that problem. Now here comes with our people called the flooding. Our problem ain't the flooding. Our problem is the drainage. If it don't drain, we're still going to hold our water. Now I know the ditches that Mr. Reinhardt's talking about, and I know some more that might not belong to Montgomery County, but the people that have them, we need to go to them, we need to talk to them, we need to get them cleaned out where our drainage can take hold and it can run out. I know that it's not going to be solved overnight. Mr. Reinhardt can't do it, I can't do it overnight, but in time we can get this taken care of. I know each and every one of us live here, we've been here most of our entire life in this community. I want to make this community not just the present for us. I want to make this community for our kids, for our grandkids, where they can say, we had something, our parents did something, and we're proud of what we're doing right here tonight. So I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all coming up, and I appreciate y'all having this here for me and Mr. Reinhardt. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both for your opening statements. Sorry, technical difficulties with the stopwatch. Never had the stopwatch misbehave before. All right, Now we're going to go on to the question and answer period. And Ms. Ashby's the only one asking the questions, so we know who's going to be asking the questions, but she's going to direct her first question to Mr. McCleskey. Mr. McCleskey.
Mr. McCleskey, what do you see as the most important challenge facing the Precinct 4 Commissioner?
The most important challenge we got here, which is what we just both talked about, is our drainage. Just got to think back 2 weeks ago. I mean, although it rains, it can rain 2 or 3 inches here, and we're going to hold water. Everybody's going to hold water. But the drainage goes after the rain stops, and that's where it goes to its lowest point. And that's the people it's going to hurt. That's why I say we need to get to the other ditches. We need to talk to the people. If it's the people that has the land that won't let us get on it, we need to go up there to them personally. We need to sit down and we need to talk to them and take them out and show them the problem, see how much it will help them as much as it'll help everybody else. And then they might see the light to say, yes, let's do that. We're going to not just help me, we're going to help the other people here in this community. And this community is what we need. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt.
I don't think that anybody works any harder on drainage than we do. We do it every day. Mr. McCluskey said he lived here 46 years, and he knows that we pretty much live in a bowl in East Montgomery County. And it's hard to make water run uphill. I think there's a lot of issues that's important as commissioner in Precinct 4. Our kids is one of the biggest ones I look at. Our roads, if you look at the roads that we've overlaid more roads in the 8 years that I've been commissioner. It's been done in the last 20 years. And we've done it on basically the same budget that we did when we had 250 miles, 520 miles of road. And now then, we got some 780 miles of road. You operate off of a budget of $3 million, $1.6 million of that is salary. So, you know, you've got to manage your money, look at what you're doing, and there's some things you can't do, but there's some things that you can do your best at, and I think we do our best at working for the people.
Thank you. Ms. Ashby's next question will be directed first to you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Reinhardt, is there a plan for emergency sheltering in East County?
Yes, ma'am. We've got in place probably one of the best emergency assistance programs, that we've ever had. You know, Nikki Kelly is working with it, and I think that the Sheriff Chief McDaniels is working with it. We communicate just like these floods. We were on the telephone. I got 2 guys sitting out here, Tracy and Sammy can tell you that I was on my cell phone about every 30 minutes when the floods were coming down, talking to Nikki. And Nikki is going to make this thing happen. We've got generators. We got a building right here that we can use. We got a building at Bull Silas Park that we can use. And I think you'll see if we have a hurricane, well, maybe we're not going to have one this year, thank God. But, you know, I think you'll see that when we have an emergency, you will see that the people of East Montgomery County will be taken care of the best in Montgomery County because of Nikki Kelly and what he does to help us. We communicate with the forest districts, talking to them. Jody Binion, me and him was on the phone the other night. We talked about every 30 minutes also. And I think that, you know, that is what it takes to make and keep our citizens safe.
Thank you. We're still having problems with our time here. So we've stole a man's watch. Okay. Okay. All right. Mr. McCleskey.
I myself haven't seen the plan that we have set in place. That's something that I really want to do, and that's just one thing I haven't seen that we've got. But there's something that we need to add to that plan. It's not just the evacuation and helping the people in our area. We need to look at the plan that Houston has set up, that Galveston has set up, because if you notice the last one we had here, everybody from there was right here. And their plan and our plan need to go together, because if you notice here, majority of us was out of gas. We didn't have any because everybody traveling on the road that spent 25 hours from Galveston to get here was out of gas, and they took ours. And I want to see to make sure that we fill this building to the capacity of the people that we need. We have the funds, we have the generators, we have the material to do that, along with our other sorry. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McCluskey, you have the next question from Ms. Ashby.
This is a little bit two-pronged, but anyway, the question is, do you plan to lower taxes, or how much have you lowered taxes, whichever one applies?
Well, first, no, I haven't lowered taxes, and I don't plan to raise taxes. What I plan to do here for the community is, let's take our fire department. If we get our fire department and we get our ISO ratings down in our fire department, you, the homeowners, will get your insurance lowered. So you will save money on your insurance just by lowering our ratings at our fire departments. And that includes from Porter to New Caney to Splendor, all of them. Just a few points, and that'll help us out in this community. Everybody here is concerned about the taxes and the money and what we're spending. And I can tell you, myself, I do not plan to raise our taxes here to be your new commissioner if I'm elected. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reinhardt.
Well, if you're gonna clean these ditches out, look at your taxes, because they're gonna go up. I voted for a 1-cent tax increase this year. I wanted that done. You know why I wanted it done? If you own a house, it's $150,000. You know what it would raise your taxes? $7.50. You know how many more police officers we could have put on the street? 22 police officers. Tommy Gage is sitting back there. He'll tell you I done it, and I'm not bashful about it. But that was the only way I wanted to raise taxes, if it went strictly to law enforcement and nothing else. People, we need more law enforcement. In order to get more law enforcement, we're going to have to pay for it. So that's only 22 people that you can put on the street with about $2 million. That sounds sort of weak, but if you figure uniforms, police cars, and salaries, and benefits, that's about what it costs. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Reinhardt, you have the next question from Ms. Ashby.
Commissioner Reinhardt, do you see a future medical clinic in East Montgomery County?
Yes, ma'am. We got a medical clinic in this building. It's not free. If you go down to New Caney, you look at the UTM building, guess who built that building? Montgomery County built it. If you had seen the building, and I'm sure you've seen it, when I took office, you couldn't even get in the lobby because they didn't have enough room. They were so packed in there, no room. You go down there now and see what you've got. You've got one of the nicest clinics. We also talking to Lone Star about coming over and helping our people that can't afford this and get things rolling for a medical clinic. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCluskey.
What I see when I see in getting us a clinic over here, I see in us getting involved with the county hospital over in Conroe to see if we can't get a clinic put over here where we can staff a doctor, staff a nurse, have a helicopter pad put in this area in case we have the accidents like we had just a couple of nights ago, or we had last week when there was the accident here on the freeway on the night it rained so bad. If we get involved in the county hospital will help us fund this hospital over here. It'll help keep the people that are really sick from having to drive the 25 miles from here to get to Conroe. It can be right here. You can have all the people you need right here in this community to help us. We have all the doctors and everything that live right here. Let's keep it in this community and we can have it made. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McCluskey, you have the next question from Ms. Ashby.
Mr. McCluskey, do you foresee any major traffic problem associated with future highway expansion of Highway 59?
Right now, y'all know that we are working on 59. They're working on 59 up there at Kingwood and North Park. Now they've done started on the phase coming down Community Drive, 1485, and they're going to hit the other side, getting north of Roman Forest. We're still working on 1314. Soon we're going to have to start up working on 1485. It's still years behind development like 1314 was. Next year we're supposed to have the relay of 494. Now we're going to be on 59 working. We're going to be on 494 working. Everybody you know that comes this way tries to take the shortcut between Knox Drive or Ford Road or Community Drive. Yes, I see we're going to have a backup in our traffic, but we're going to have to lean on our law enforcement and let them say, this is what we need to do and this is where we need to direct our traffic. Because we had that same problem when we had the accidents and the backup and everybody was going kind of haywire with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt.
Let me correct one statement. We do not have a county hospital. The hospital district sold our county hospital over 10 years ago. Yes, I see a major problem with our traffic. It's going to be that way for the next 5 to 7 years. But we got to have it, ladies and gentlemen. The growth that we've got up here, there's no way that we can continue to fight 4-lane traffic back to Houston. And I think that one of the biggest growth reasons here is once you cross the bridge in Humble, you can boogie all the way to Houston. And we want the same thing up here because of the growth that we're going to have in Montgomery County. We got it now. In the next 5 to 6 years, you're going to see 6,000 to 8,000 new homes built here. New Caney ISD went up 500 students this year. 200 of those was high school. That's the first time we've ever had that much growth. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Reinhardt, Ms. Ashby's next question is yours.
Commissioner Reinhardt, what can we do about the drug problem and our image in East County?
Well, if you work as close with the constable's office, the sheriff's office, and the DPS office as I do, I'm going to tell you, they work very hard to try to solve our drug problems. You know, I don't think there's a week goes by that I don't communicate with the constable's office, DPS, or sheriff's office. And let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, they are getting a lot of drugs off the street. We, just like I got through saying a minute ago, we have got to have more law enforcement to help these guys. Judge Metz putting out all the warrants. He's got the constable over here loaded. You know, he can sit there and grin, and he'll tell you we're loaded. The sheriff's department, with as much domestic violence as we've got over here, they run themselves to death. There ain't too many times if you're waiting on a law enforcement officer, you could be 8 to 10 calls behind when this comes out. I know this for a fact because I keep associated with them very close. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCluskey.
Like I mentioned earlier, that if you run the numbers, if you can say that 20% of our kids in the school is on drugs, then that affects our other 80. That affects their friends, and it's a chain reaction down, and soon it starts affecting the parents too. That's why I said in my opening speech that we need to help enhance the law enforcement, give them everything they need to fight these drugs. We need to go back to our DARE program and really kick that off and keep it going. That way the kids will know that we're doing our job and they're going to be too afraid to handle the drugs. And I don't want to punish the kids. I want to show that to them, but I want to get the people that's giving it to them. Let's get this community back like it was when you didn't have a problem with any drugs and there wasn't any around here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCluskey. Sandy's next question is yours. Hang on to that mic.
Would you please give us your opinion, Mr. McCluskey, on our library system and book selection, the method of book selection we have now?
Now, I understand earlier in the race that there was a situation brought up with the type of books that was in our library that remained in our library after they voted to get them taken out. Them type of books, truthfully, don't belong in our library. I'm not saying the burning of the book, but I'm saying let's box them up, let's move them out of our library. Now, I know you might think, okay, if we don't have them in the library, they can still see that at their house on TV when their parents ain't there. You know, we're probably not going to stop them from seeing that. But if our parents are there, and if they're blocked on our TVs, or if our parents are strict with them, then we won't have that, and they won't be in the libraries, and the people won't be looking for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt.
I am sure that there's books in our library that don't need to be in there. And I've talked to the librarian about, what about making an adult section, and putting those books, taking them out, putting them in there. But our library rules are, if you're 12 years old or younger, you should have a parent in that library with you. I never had a problem with my kids going in and picking up a book that they didn't need to be reading, because they knew better than that. But I think Sue's here tonight, and she can vouch that, you could get your rear end spanked for doing stuff that you didn't need to be doing. I got mine. You sitting over there grinning, and I'm sure you got yours spanked too. And and my mother's 94-year-old, bless her heart. And, if I done something I didn't need to be, or I was reading a book that didn't need to be read, she'd make me send me that Peachtree, and you didn't do that no more. But I'm sure that we got books in our library that don't need to be in there. And I would strongly suggest that we take them and put them, to where those kids cannot get to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Reinhardt. Ms. Ashby's next question is for you.
Commissioner Reinhardt, how long have you lived here in East Montgomery County, and what primary and secondary schools did you attend?
I've lived here since 1988 in Montgomery County. I finished high school, and I guess my training come from hard knocks. I started trucking business, me and Sue, in 1983. Thought after we eaten enough beanie weenies for about 3 years, we never was going to make it. But right now, me and Sue own probably the 4th largest sand company in the state of Texas that delivers to golf courses. Golf courses is the only thing we do. We don't do anything else. Golf courses is our deal, and we're going to continue to do it. And I know that people say, well, how much does that take away from your commissioner? Ladies and gentlemen, I am a full-time commissioner. I don't have anything to do with the trucking company. Sue does it all. Sure, she calls and asks for advice, and I do my best to give it to her. But she'll tell you that I don't have anything to do with a trucking company, that I work 24 hours for the people of East Montgomery County and Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. McCluskey.
I guess I can say I've been here since 1960. That's when I was born. So I've been here 46 years. I went to school, Porter Elementary. That was the only elementary around. And then moved in and went through high school here at New Caney. I went to electrical school, learned electrical school, been a superintendent in Houston, building structures and chemical plants for over the last 20 years. I'm a licensed master electrician for the state of Texas. And I operate a family-owned business up here in New Caney that my dad started over 40 years ago that I basically just handle the books for it because all the proceeds from it goes to my mother. And basically that's about it, and live and have a good time here in Montgomery County.
Thank you. Ms. Ashby's next question goes to you, Mr. McCleskey.
Mr. McCleskey, what would you do to help support the growth and security for Cut and Shoot? Right now, the citizens in Cut and Shoot feel that their interests are receiving a lower priority